Leica cameras have always come at a premium. They've never been an affordable, like cheap entry camera. They've always been priced in a way that reflects their value, the craftsmanship, the engineering, all the things that go into what makes a brand like Leica really special. And Leica just released 2 new cameras here in 2025. They released the M-EV1. I covered that camera's launch in Italy with Leica. You can see the video right here. That camera just started shipping in the US this past week, so it's a great time to pick it up if what I'm gonna say here actually makes a difference and resonates with you. And Leica just released the Q3 Monochrome, and I'm struggling because I really want that camera. But there's no practical reason I want it, other than I just want it. But we're gonna talk about want versus like reality in this video today. Because what I want to cover in this video is a real honest conversation, something I've not even talked about on this channel before. We acknowledge what Leica cameras cost, but in 2025, prices are higher than ever. They're not coming back down. And I think we've entered into a new phase of premium pricing. And with every new release, it just hits me harder and harder as I look at where things are in our world, in our economy, and where things are priced in the camera market. And this isn't even just about Leica, but this video is, but it's bigger than that. And ultimately, as much as I love Leica cameras, I love the Leica story, the heritage, I use Leica cameras. None of that is changing, and it doesn't have an effect on what I'm gonna say today, because ultimately, I make these videos for the viewer, I make it for you, and I wanna be honest about how I'm feeling when I look at the current 2025 and into 2026 pricing, when it makes sense and when it doesn't make sense. But before I do, if this is your first time here, my name is Dave. I've made like 200 and something videos about Leica cameras on this channel, so you're in a good place if you like talking about this kind of stuff. Be sure to subscribe, follow this channel, check out all the links below too. They'll tell you everything about me. Anyway, I don't want to make this video about me. So to kick things off here, I have written down a list of the current lineup from Leica just regarding the M and the Q. I don't shoot the SL, I don't shoot the Deluxe, the so forth, like there are other stuff. And then Leica makes other products too. I'm not even gonna get into all of that. We're gonna talk today about the M pricing and the Q pricing. We're gonna talk about where it was a year ago and where it is today. So I've got it all written down here. Let's start with the M11. They only offer it in the glossy black paint. They discontinued the original M11 in black and silver. A year ago, that camera was $89.95, which is a very premium camera. Today, it's $98.40, which is an $845 increase. Now let's talk about the variants of the M11, and we'll start with the M11P, which means professional. It has different features. It's upgraded in many ways. I use an M11P Safari here. A year ago, the M11P was $91.95. Today, it's $98.40. It's gone up $645. Next up, we've got the M11D. A year ago, $93.95. Right now, $10,055. And then we've got the M11 Monochrome, which launched at $94.95. Today, $10,160. Leica just released the EV1 at $89.95, which is the same price as the glossy black paint M11. It's also the same price that the M11 debuted at years ago. It is the cheapest, I hate using that word when we're talking about a $9,000 camera, but it is the lowest entry point camera in this ecosystem. And as you can see here, these prices they've trended up this year. And look, we know the reasons why here in the US. We know, I'm not even gonna get into it, we know why. It's not even about why, it's about where, and where these prices are, again, is what we're talking about today. So now let's cover the Q. The Q3 launched 2 years ago this past summer. I was actually in Italy when it launched, and they were so kind there at the Leica store. They loaned me a Q3 for the day. Pretty cool. You can just walk in and borrow a camera, which is amazing. I'll link it right here. It's old. You know what? Don't even watch it. It doesn't matter. That camera debuted at $6,295. Today, if you were to buy that camera new, you're going to spend $67.35. Last fall, they released the Q3 43 at $68.95. Today, $73.80. And then we just had the Q3 Monochrome release, $77.90, almost $8,000 for the Q3 Monochrome. None of these prices include sales tax here in the US, which where I live in the Bay Area of California. you know, it's nearly 11%. It's like 10 and some change. And so, I mean, you're talking about an additional $700, $800, $900, $1,000 just in sales tax on top of these prices if I was to go to my local Leica store and pick up a new camera from them. Now, if you're watching this because you saw the title, the thumbnail, and it resonated with you because you don't think Leicas are worth it, you don't like the brand, you think we're all crazy, like, I'm glad you're watching, and I'm gonna validate you in a few minutes, so just keep watching. But I do want to go through some ideas and some thoughts that I have about when this pricing does actually make sense. Like, I've thought about it for myself because I'm obviously a Leica guy. I shoot with an M11P Safari and an M6. I've got a small collection of Leica lenses that I use. I've had a Q2 in the past, I've had a Q2 Monochrom in the past, and I've had various M's in the past as well. So obviously to me, these cameras are worth it. But there's also reasons that are very valid why they are not worth it, and they are priced really insane, and they're not cameras I would recommend to everybody. So when is it worth it? The first reason I have is when you want to use M lenses. This is the Leica look. It's not the camera. It's certainly not the film camera because that's just a carrier for film. It has nothing to do with the look of your photos. But the digital cameras, they do play a role in the look of your photos because there's a processor that processes that data from the sensor. But ultimately, the Leica look comes from Leica lenses. And if you want to use Leica lenses natively in the way they were intended, you're gonna have to have it on an M. Now, before you start talking about adapting lenses, I hear you, I do. You can certainly adapt a Leica M lens onto an SL, you can adapt it onto a Sony or any other camera that is out there. There are a wide range of adapters to put these lenses on any camera. That said, the way that these lenses were designed to be used plays a big role in the look that comes out of these. So the distance between the back glass here and that film plane or that sensor, it does actually matter. And the way light is coming through this and hitting that film plane and that sensor, it does play a role in the look. I've adapted my Leica lenses onto my Sony cameras a lot, and I can see a difference. They look cloudier, they look flatter, but on my M cameras, they look punchier, they look sharper. That's just anecdotal evidence, but I promise you from my experience, it is real. And if you wanna use M lenses, you gotta put them on an M camera to really get the most out of them. Otherwise, why pay the premium for an M lens? M lenses, they are incredibly special, not just in their design, but in their history. There's so much history in M lenses. You can go back 60, 70 something years ago and get M lenses from that generation and shoot them on your M11, pick a version, or even your EV1. So if you have a style that you are after, and that style is gonna dictate that you use an M lens, then I think it's worth investing in an M body. And I would say the Q lens, the 28 and the 43 are fantastic lenses designed with similar goals in mind. If that's a look that resonates with you, then the Q makes sense and would be worth it for the lens. So M lenses, if they are your goal, then buying an M body makes total sense. The next thing that I want to point out is that if you are a hybrid shooter, if you're someone that uses a digital camera and a film camera, I love that I can use those same M lenses across this same system. And in many ways, this design, while it has changed a lot, and obviously film to digital are massive, massive changes, you know, not just to design, but function and workflow and all those things. This is kind of the same exact experience when it comes to how you're making the photos and you're doing your thing. So if you're somebody that shoots film and digital and you want to like have that same lens library on both, you want to like go out and be a hybrid shooter, M's are pretty much the only way to do that in 2025. Yeah, you can go out with a point and shoot and a Sony, or get yourself like a Nikon film camera and a Nikon digital camera. You can do those things, of course, but it's not as seamless as this is, and you certainly aren't gonna be able to just throw a 35 Summilux on either one and get incredible results as intended on both the film camera and the digital camera. So if you're somebody that wants to shoot film and digital and tandem and hybrid, take one or the other, take both, make them your everyday carry, then to me, the M is worth it 100%. Now let's get philosophical for a minute, because this next point that I've got, this is probably one of the most important things you have to ask yourself when you are evaluating if these prices in 2025 and into 2026 are actually worth it. And what it comes down to is this: you have to be committed. Like, these prices make no sense if you're not going to commit and actually like use the camera. Unless you've got like the cash flow or whatever to be able to buy cameras and just stick them in the cabinet or on the shelf and never pull them out, or only take them out for like special occasions. Like, you can do that 100%. Like, you work hard for your money, you do what you want with it. But in my opinion, if you were to ask me, you gotta be committed to a system to spend this level of cash on it. Which means that when I'm grabbing a camera, I'm not grabbing anything but my cameras that I've heavily invested in. I'm taking out the lenses that I bought and put a decent amount of money into because I like the way they look. But yeah, you gotta be committed to the system to invest into it this much. The fourth reason I've got here, my final reason for when it's worth it, is incredibly philosophical, but just follow me here. When the camera gives you a creative boost, that you are inspired and you're going to chase the craft more, then it is 100% worth it for you. Life basically beats the hell out of us every day, our whole life. Like, I've got small kids right now, and one of my big goals as a father is to let the magic of childhood last as long as possible. They've got a whole life to realize that the world is what it is. The hard stuff's coming, but right now, while they're little, we're letting them be little, have fun, stay inspired, and just like every day that we continue to have that is a win. As creative people, me, you, like, even if photography is not your thing and you somehow ended up on this video because your husband bought a Leica and you're pissed off about it. As creative people, we need ways to be inspired and motivated. And sometimes that looks like getting a new piece of gear to try something new or to chase a new idea or a project. And those things actually give us life. Now, sure, you can do those things with a thrift store camera, but if you get inspired, that creative boost because you're walking around with your dream camera, like I'm able to do with this M11P Safari. This is like, as I've said before, and I've covered this camera in past videos, this was like my dream camera. It's my color, it has everything I want, and it has nothing I don't want. Like, to me, this is a camera that makes me want to take it out and use it, and therefore I use it every day. And knowing that it's going to brass up over time makes me use it even harder because I want to start seeing some brass on this thing. But the point I'm making here is that if something inspires you, it gives you that boost, it gives you some life, and it takes a little bit of the sting out of getting the hell beat out of you every day, then my God, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. Money is a fluid thing. It comes and goes, but your time is a one-way street. So if this takes your time and elevates it, and you can afford it, it's worth it. So before we get into the reasons, I would never tell you to buy a Leica, and I'm gonna be straight up and just honest and very pointed in the things that are coming up. Let me take one quick minute and tell you about today's sponsor, Very Good, which is my company, so sponsor, you get it. Over at Very Good, we have a wide range of presets, LUTs, power grades. They're all really loved digital tools you can check out, but we just launched our first camera strap. This is the Very Good camera strap. It is made here in the US and it is sourced from Bison from Montana. This is a very unique strap, has a lot of very unique things about it. It might just look like your common run-of-the-mill split ring camera strap, but I promise it is not. It is very special. And if you go over to shopverygood.com and hit the gear tab, I'm also gonna link it below and put a QR code on the screen right now. You can check out the Very Good camera strap, read all about Bison leather, what makes this strap special, and see it in a bunch of photographs, and just check it out and see what you think. It's available in pre-order, 2 sizes, 2 colors. You can read all about it over on the website. Link is below, QR code right there for you. So be sure to check out the Very Good camera strap. Okay, so when is a Leica camera not worth it? Well, in part one, we talked about you being committed. So when is it not worth it? The very first thing is the low-hanging fruit here. The easiest thing for you to wrap your head around. If you don't use it, it's not worth it. If you're not gonna use it, probably not worth it. I am constantly in a state of evaluating my gear because I have money, real money tied up in gear. Now, thankfully, Leica has a resale value that is very strong, so I'm able to move gear if I need to. But that said, if it's not getting used, it is not worth it. I have seen several wise friends buy into the Leica system only to sell it off within 6 months. And why do I say they're wise friends? Because they tried it, they realized it wasn't for them, and they didn't want to tie up $10,000 in a camera that they're just not going to use. So again, that part one, you are committed, but we're kicking off when is it not worth it with you're not gonna use it. And that's just you having an honest conversation with you. The second point I'm gonna make here, if you are somebody that really loves tech, this is not the system for you. I mentioned before that I've made over 220 videos now about the Leica brand, cameras I use. That's a lot of freaking videos, and I have dealt with so many wonderful positive comments and also a lot of the negative comments. And just straight up with you, most of the negative comments are criticizing, well, most of them are criticizing me, but the negative comments about the cameras often deal with their lack of technology versus their price point. So there are multiple types of photographers. You know, we don't all fit in one single box. Some people love the latest and greatest tech, and that is a normal part of photography. Whenever camera brands come out with new cameras, we love to see all this latest and greatest tech, like Sony innovated autofocus in a way that lets me do videos so efficiently just right here, right now. And then Nikon has just come out with a brand new camera, cheaper, great autofocus, all these wonderful features and color grading. It's making the whole current video world like flip upside down. Canon's releasing new stuff. Fuji's got new stuff. Like all these camera brands are constantly moving things forward regarding tech, whereas Leica lacks a lot of it. And their flagship camera that is supposed to be tech rich, the SL, a camera that I don't use, and like, it's not that I don't have anything good to say about it, it's just a camera that I don't use because when I want tech in a camera, I'm gonna buy something that does tech really well. And in my experience, and again, if you are an SL user, we have different experiences, but in my experience as someone who had the SL2S, it just doesn't hit the mark for me. So if you need tech, you probably don't need a Leica M or a Leica Q because let's just be honest, the tech is not there. They're not meant to have that tech. So if you're looking for a camera system that's gonna give you like groundbreaking tech features, this is not the brand for you. This next one, philosophical here, but I think it's a very honest one. You've got to ask yourself, does this camera check a box? Because if it doesn't check a box, it's probably not worth it. So let me give you my current situation with trying to check a box. Like I have noticed a gap in my world of photography right now. And it's one I've noticed for a while. I've been struggling with it. Friends of mine know about the struggle because I text them about it, process with them. But I had a Q2 for a long time. I sold that Q2 because I wasn't using it about 2 years ago. Because for me, when I want to take photos, I want to use an M. Like this is the experience I love. It's what inspires me. It gives me that creative boost. Like I enjoy it. From a person using a camera, the Q2 was no longer checking a box. It just sat all the time. And I was rarely, if ever, behind that camera anymore because I was taking out the M. That was 2 years ago when I sold it. The Q3 came out. I've never owned one, never had any of the Q3 line. I've borrowed them from friends before for small things, but never had one. Today, I'm really wrestling though with 2 years of missed family photos. And I don't mean that I missed those photos because I didn't focus. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my ability to take the Q2 that I once had and hand it to my family. Hand it to my wife so that when we're doing things, she can just point and shoot and I can be in family photos that are not iPhone photos. Or hand it to my son who 2 years ago when we were in Italy, I gave him the Q2 while we were walking around, and at the time he was 9 years old and he was taking all the photos he wanted to take. Like, the point I'm making is that I've got 2 years of missed photos from handing that camera to family members. I even took a trip with a friend one time and I gave him the Q2 for the trip, and I got really cool shots from that of me because he was getting some photos for me. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I've got 2 years of missing photos, and now I'm wondering, should I go back and check that box into 2026? Do I need a Q to do that? No, I could do it with literally anything, but I like the look of the Q because I like the lens. So I want that lens. And I want autofocus. So now I'm wrestling with, like, is a Q3 worth it to check that box? Is a Q3 monochrome worth it to check that box, but with a little more creative, like, struggle and push? Like, should I go that route? So I'm currently trying to process, like, for me, checking a box to see if it's worth it. And I've been on this journey since earlier in 2025. Like, I started having these conversations with friends back in the spring, and I still haven't arrived there yet because of what it'll cost to go into that system. So I'm sure you can appreciate this point. If it doesn't check a box, it is not worth it. This last one, I'm just gonna get really direct with you. This is a personal philosophy, but it irks me a little bit to see this happening. So I'm just gonna call it for what it is. Recently, some new financing offers came out to help people invest into the Leica system. Financing is a wonderful thing when it meets certain requirements. I'm in the mindset that if you have to take on debt to enter into a system, it's probably not worth it. Let me tell you when it would be worth it. Like, if you were monetizing your gear in a way that the debt is going to return value and profit to you at a higher rate than the debt is going to cost you, then you can make a case that it would maybe be worth it. For me, for my gear, I actually have a very conservative philosophy on this. I need to project 10x of value on the tools of my business if I'm gonna take on any debt. Otherwise, I'm doing it with no debt. I'm gonna sell stuff to buy stuff, or I'm gonna save to get that thing. But that's me, that's really my, like, conservative approach to debt and finances. I'm gonna stand by what I said. If you have to take on debt to get into a system that is not gonna return value to you at a higher rate, it's probably not worth it. Because let's just be honest, most photographers are like hobbyists, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, hobby that gives you life is like one of the most rewarding things. But I don't think it's very wise to take on debt for the hobby unless you are, like, desperately needing that creative boost and you've got a plan in place that it won't, like, cost you years and years and years of interest or whatever by buying that gear. Part of making videos at home and, you know, doing your thing is dealing with the family pet showing up in the middle of a video. All right, let's go. Go on, go, 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 go. So my recommendation, if you're looking at these prices and you're really wrestling with wanting to get into the system, buy new gear, or you're just asking yourself, like, is it worth it? Obviously, there's cases where it is, there's cases where it's not. My recommendation to everybody, though, is the same. It's always, if you are going to get into this system, and especially if it's the first time and you're really unsure if you're going to commit, how you're going to use it, then by all means, buy used and buy patiently. Leica gear holds its value very well most of the time, but right now we are in a buyer's market with used Leica gear. So if you're interested, this is a great time to buy gear. But don't forget that part about buying patiently. You know, you don't have to rush into the next greatest thing that you've got on your mind. Buy used, buy patiently. And if you know for sure that, like, it checks the boxes for it being worth it to you, or you've got the bandwidth to step into the system or upgrade your gear or get that new lens or whatever, then by all means, it's worth it. Just go about it with as much wisdom as possible. All right, I hope you found this video helpful on your journey. If you did, be sure to give it a like. And if you are not subscribed, be sure to get subscribed. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.